What's up everybody, it is Jay here, and today I wanted to talk about neglecting trans young people. I don't mean neglect in terms of like abuse and child abuse. I mean neglect in terms of not advocating for the rights of trans young people and not supporting trans young people as a community. As per usual, like the majority of people in the trans community who have like a social, like a media presence, or who have like eyes on them, or who get to go out and talk and advocate for the trans community in public forums and get listened to, are adults. And that's totally normal because that's the way it is in most communities. Usually adults are the ones with platform. And while a lot of those people like have good intentions, a lot of the time those adults who are out and about like forget really to advocate for trans young people. I know that at present in the trans community in Ireland, a lot of like the adults who are involved in the trans community in Ireland are people who never had the experience of being out as a trans young person. And like obviously no one's gonna fault you for not having been out as a teenager. But it's an experience they never had, and it's an experience that you don't know a lot about, and they haven't really taken on a lot of the information that young people are giving them about being a trans young person. So one of the things that really irritates me is how in a lot of places there are supports in place for trans adults but not for trans young people. The only support group that is specifically for trans young people in Ireland that I know of is the one run in Dublin by Belong To. There are like supports for trans young people in the form of the transparency groups, but in order to go to the youth groups that run alongside the transparency groups, you have to have your parents at the transparency group, and not all of the transparency groups have a youth group. So like the group run by Belong To is the only one specifically for trans young people only, with nothing else attached to it. And then the groups that are run by transparency are different, and also you have to have your parents there, and there isn't one with every transparency group. So you end up with like trans young people who are like often less able to travel to go and seek other supports, especially if they're not out yet. They're often less able to travel to seek other support groups in other places, and it's just really sad that there are people who only get to come to like big trans events once a year, and then you don't see them again for like 6 months, and they don't have supports where they're living or where they're local to, and they might have supports like within a county of them and have to travel for it. It's sad to me that there isn't better support out there for trans young people specifically. One of the things that also really annoys me is that a lot of the adults in the trans community who have platform, who get to talk to people, who get to put their voices out there, neglect to mention the obstacles that trans young people are facing. Like, it is important to talk about the obstacles that trans adults face. It is important also to, when you are discussing those things, mention the obstacles that trans young people are facing. Like, when we talk about medical transitioning, there are clear problems with the medical transitioning system for like Irish adults. But there are also problems with the medical transition system for Irish young people and Irish children and teenagers that are overlooked because like people have not listened to trans young people when they say, this is pretty shit, lads. I know I say a lot of positive things about Belong To, and I have to say positive things here again, because Belong To does consistently work to make sure that trans young people and LGBT young people across the board get to speak for themselves, get to put their views and their points out there, get to put their concerns out there, get to advocate for themselves and be empowered to do their own advocacy rather than getting adults to advocate for them. And it's really good, and I really appreciate that. And I think more organizations and people in general need to take a leaf out of Belong To's book and just in general listen to the young people that are around you. Like, I don't think you can claim to be an organization that represents trans people if you don't also represent trans young people. I don't think that's right or fair to call yourself a trans organization or a trans advocate if you don't represent the interests of the whole community. It's not right, in my view, to like call yourself an advocate for the entire community, call yourself an organization for the entire community, if you're only going to cover like adults, if you're only going to cover binary people, if you're only going to cover like specific portions of the community, then you're not like a general advocate. You are advocating for that specific portion of the community. And if you are going to be a general advocate, please do make yourself aware. You don't have to become an expert, but if you can even just say, I know that there are also issues faced by trans young people in this country that are different than the ones adults face, then even that is beneficial. If you are a trans adult watching this video who wants to know more about what trans young people have to say, then the big thing that I recommend to you, other than just listening to trans young people, is reading the Trans Youth Forum report. I participated in the Trans Youth Forum. I was on a panel afterwards discussing the findings of the report when it was launched. I was on the radio talking about the report when it launched. It was amazing, and it is amazing. Just the Trans Youth Forum report, even though it's now like 2 years old or something, is very important in that it listened specifically to people who were young people. And granted, some of those young people are adults, but it did also specifically listen to minors and ask them about their issues. And I would also say, looking at the LGBTI plus youth strategy when it comes out, because both of those things specifically listened to young people, some of whom are adults, some of whom are minors, but it specifically tuned into the issues that young people were facing. And honestly, if you can just listen to young people, it makes a massive difference. All you have to do is listen and show you're listening, and then that will make a difference in the community as a whole. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do click the like button down below. The subscribe button is down there somewhere as well. I never know which end of the screen to point at because I just don't. The comment section is open for any of your thoughts or opinions or views. I don't know. Whatever you want to say. And yeah, that is all. The most likely the next video I will be posting will be my 2 years on T video, because my 2 years on T is on the 17th of October and it's the first today. But I have also noted somebody commented on my last video and had a request, and I will make that my next video after my T update. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.